Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iPad today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
Coming up, who's busy? We all are. You are and we are, but that's okay because we've got apps for busy people like you.
Plus, iOS 4.3, a better presentation tool, and the death of the home button.
All that plus deep, deep, deep space on iPad today.
iPad Today is brought to you by Ford, introducing the all-new 2012 Ford Focus Electric with voice-activated sync and My Ford Touch, featuring gas-free power, zero CO2 emissions, and battery management technology that lets you go the distance. Learn more at focuselectricpower.com. And by MailRoute. MailRoute is a secure hosted service that filters viruses and spam for companies of any size. To save 10% off your MailRoute account, visit mailroute.info. Hey, we're back in the studio! I want to go back in the field. Okay, enough of the studio.
Can we wait till next January to go back to CES?
Yes, but next week.
I think is it next week?
No, it's 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks, because next week you're going to be in New York for Regis and Kelly.
Yes, I am. But I'll be back for Thursday.
You'll be back for Thursday.
And then we're going to go to Macworld.
We're going to go to Macworld. Yeah, so everybody, if you haven't gotten a chance to watch episode 27, that was our CES iPad today, and it went over really well. We got a lot of feedback from you guys. I mean, those of you who wrote in or sent us nice notes on Twitter and Facebook and the like really seemed to like us being out in the field.
It was a lot of fun for us, but I think that it also showed that, you know, and I have to say, this was my original plan with iPad today.
It's
I
true.
didn't want to do yet another show in this studio. I wanted to get out there.
Right.
And so we hear you, and we're going to work on ways to make it possible. It's just, it's technically we have limitations.
Exactly.
But we'll find a way to do it, because it really was fun, wasn't it?
Certainly on a regular basis, if not a weekly basis, it's something that we can and should think about doing more often.
We know you want.
Yeah,
and we will
exactly.
We'll do more about it. So what is the topic of the day, Sarah Lynn?
Well, you know, as we're now on to episode 28.
Jeez Louise.
I know.
We're half a year now.
It's true. Every week it's like, what should our theme be? And it can't be something we've talked about before, or at least has to be a long enough time since we've talked about it. So sometimes I look to our email inbox just to get some ideas, because we're always getting them.
And in other words, this show's your fault, because you didn't send us any suggestions.
Oh, but actually we did get a suggestion.
Oh, okay.
In fact,
I said that.
We got a suggestion all the way from Japan, if you want to just roll that video.
Oh, you're kidding.
She'll just set it up. It's just she's going to set it up for us.
This
she's
is Miki.
It's Miki.
Hi, Leo. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Miki.
My name is Miki, and I'm an American living in Japan. And I have been here for 17 years. I run an after-school English school for Japanese kids. And I have 2 iPads for my school, and they devour them every time I bring them out, which is pretty much almost every time now.
I wonder how old these kids are.
I'm wondering today if you can suggest some good apps for busy moms. Yes, I'm a mother of 2. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and running a business and taking care of kids and keeping a house clean is quite a difficult task, but I'm wondering if you could recommend some great apps for busy moms.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
I could tell you right off the top, the thing that I use the most that really has improved my productivity more than anything else, Angry Birds. I highly recommend it for anybody who wants to get more done.
You
Don't
want to
you
get
agree?
your laundry done? Play some Angry Birds.
Play some Angry Birds.
It'll do itself. But no, Miki makes a good point, and I originally watched this and went, oh, I wish I knew more about what busy moms need, not being a mother myself. But I think that this can apply to busy people in general.
Busy people.
Moms are a good example of somebody who is a busy mom with a couple of kids, juggling a lot of things at once. But busy people, we're all busy people, right? So I think that there are a lot of apps that maybe can be put in this category that you wouldn't really think about, and maybe Miki could get some helpful tips from.
Now, some of these are repeats. We've talked about them before, but we have some new ones too. So let's kick it off, Sarah, with Mint.
Yes. So Mint is, if you're not familiar with it, you should be.
It's the Sideways website.
It is the Sideways website. So this is not iPad. It's iPad capable, but not iPad enabled technically.
Which, as you can see, it's fine because really it's about the information. So what is Mint?
It's also all text. You know, I find that most of the apps that aren't specifically for iPad or only suck if there's a lot of images. So Mint is a way to connect all of your bank accounts. And I don't want to click around too much because then you guys will know what my salary is. But you connect all your bank accounts.
Well, I can see it right at the top. It's $20.
Auto loans. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that.
That's your budget. So that's what you've budgeted for fast food is $20?
Well, actually, Mint budgets that for me just by default.
That's one of the things I like about Mint is you don't have to spend time entering data.
No.
You know, if you ever used Quicken, and by the way, it's owned by Intuit, the folks who do Quicken, but you had to enter your data, then you had to set up budgets. It was a lot of time-consuming work.
Right.
You don't put any work into this. It just says, well, I could see this is what you're typically spending. After a while, it gets better and better, of course.
Right. The reason that I think Mint is great for busy moms / people is that if it works correctly for you and you're able to enter all of your, your spending habits, what you've got in the bank, what you owe, maybe what your car is worth, if you're investing in, 401k funds, that sort of thing.
It's
it
fantastic.
Really gives you a good overview of everything that is going in and out, and will alert you. Like if for some reason I just connected a couple of my old 401ks, like my old Tech TV 401k,
which is still around, right?
Mint, which is still it's alive and well.
So now you know how it's
but
doing.
It's charging me fees.
Didn't know
monthly
that before,
fees.
did you?
No, and it's like $30, and this has been going on for years. And now Mint goes, hey, you're getting a fee. Maybe you should think about switching over to an IRA. Would you like us to help? That sort of thing. So Mint is really good for if you're busy and you're not logging into your bank account, and you're not using something like Quicken, and you don't want to be nickeled and dimed.
And you don't want to spend a lot of time entering crap.
Exactly.
This does it all for you.
Right, yeah.
Even for a small business owner like me, I have all of our business accounts going in there, and I can just review the transactions, and it's on all my phones, all my portable devices, including my iPad. So whenever I have a moment, I just say, well, let's see what Sarah Lane spent. Oh, my God! Right. And that way I can kind of keep an eye on out-of-control spending here at the cottage. Why do you laugh like that? Can I do one before you do one?
Yes,
I got one here. This is called, now, of course, the iPad, I know this. Don't write me a letter saying it's got its own iCal-style calendar app. Sure it does. But you can do it one better, and that is with this. Now, it's $15. It's Informant HD. And here's why I like it better. First of all, it does sync with Google Calendar, your iCal. So all your data, as you can see, all my data is in here. That's not a problem. But it goes farther than that. It also has a GTD-style to-do list manager, which now, or if you're a Franklin Covey person, by the way, these two camps are at war with one another, but it's a different way of doing a to-do list. It supports both Franklin Covey with that, letter number prioritizing system, but also you see these are the GTD folders, getting things done, all active, in progress, overdue. It's got the full inbox, very easy, syncs with the desktop, very powerful. It lets you set a lot of information about appearance, about how the GTD works, about the calendar settings, much more flexible. Now, yeah, $15, but I think you're gonna really like what this is capable of. This is the kind of the power calendar.
I don't think I've ever seen an app look more like a notebook either.
Isn't that nice? I mean, it actually works really well with the iPad metaphor, I think.
Yeah, it works well.
I don't think there's a desktop version, but there is an iPhone version. And frankly, this is it. Your whole life is in this Informant HD. I think it's called Pocket Informant HD. I think a very nice
Pocket Informant
program.
HD, I like that. A couple of apps that we've talked about in the past, but are perfect if you're thinking about, being a busy person and needing a little help. Two apps. The first one, Window Shop by Amazon. We've talked about Window Shop in the past. This is Amazon's kind of foray into an iPad app, but it's really just Amazon.
Right.
I mean, anyone who is familiar with Amazon knows that you can buy toilet paper on Amazon. You can buy all sorts of things via Amazon.
And let's face it, you could use the web page, but this is just kind of a more elegant way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, some folks are web page enthusiasts, and some folks like the iPad.
I use Windows Shop.
Yeah, I like it. Amazon, Zappos, I enjoy their apps more than their web experience if I'm going to be on my iPad already. Another app that is kind of a no-brainer, but you might not think about is, if you are going to be cooking for more than just yourself, You got to have Epicurious.
Yep.
We've talked about that as one of our favorite cooking apps
we love
in the past.
Epicurious.
Not only is Epicurious good for, they've even got like kid-friendly or weeknight dinners, things that are easy where you can enter the ingredients that you already have in your fridge, and Epicurious will suggest things that you could make that maybe you hadn't thought of. You can build a shopping list so you can take your iPad with you to the store and just make sure you get what you need for the week, that sort of thing. It's really, I feel like Epicurious is good for people who want to experiment and be kind of like show-offy chefs, but I'm not one of those people, and this is Epicurious actually works better for me just to give me ideas for simple stuff that I didn't know I could do. Right. And you could make hot dogs every night if you wanted to, but if you're a busy mom, you probably want to try a little harder than that, So this is a really good app for anybody who has got to cook for a few people and doesn't want to waste a lot of time at the grocery store.
As we all do. I have some more apps. Can I show you some more of my favorite apps?
You round this out, Leo Laporte. Round it out.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll do the rest of them. This one is called Plain Text. And I've showed this before. The idea, for instance, when I was at CES, I needed to take notes for the Regis and Kelly show I'm doing next week. So I have this on my iPhone. I have this on my iPad. But more importantly, it saves to Dropbox. This is actually a Dropbox folder. Oh, cool. So as I made the list, as I went through the show floor, I was able to do it on my iPhone and come back and look at it on my iPad, but then also on my desktop where I can modify it. It is a very handy application, and the reason I think it's good for busy people is you can make lists, but they don't just live on the iPad. They're automatically on your Dropbox. It's called...
love that.
Yeah. I think it's very simple. There are a number of Dropbox note-taking programs. This is about as simple as you can get. Plain text, and it's free.
It all really is about syncing across, because we all have so many devices. It's like if things aren't synced, I don't remember where I wrote those notes. So that's a really good feature.
Yeah, it's a pain if you don't have it. Do you remember what I had a couple more and I can't remember what they were. Did you write that down? Ah, okay. So I mentioned a to-do list in Pocket Informant. That's kind of built into the calendar, but there are people who need more, and for people who need more. The power tool, and I've also talked about this before on the show, is called OmniFocus. There is a desktop version of it. There's an iPhone version of it. It is very expensive on all platforms, and you have to buy each and every one. But let me tell you, this is true getting things done. If you want I've mentioned that twice now. David Allen, a guy named David Allen, totally transformed the world of productivity with his book, Getting Things Done. And it has a methodology for getting things done, which could be done very simply with pieces of paper. You don't have to have a computer. But there are, because geeks love the whole idea of GTD, there are a lot of GTT programs out there. This is one Merlin Mann worked with the Omni Group, to totally support GTD methodology. This isn't for everyone. Some people prefer things, or there's a lot of simpler to-do lists out there. This is if you've got big projects to manage with lots of steps, you do lots of delegation. It's very powerful stuff. It's called OmniFocus, and it's like, I don't know, $30 or $40. It's not cheap.
I know folks who think OmniFocus there's too much going on.
Yep.
And others who say, I'll never use anything else.
Yep.
It really just depends on how somebody gets things done.
It totally depends on that. I mean, that's in it. Now, if you're a traveler, I don't know if Mickey is a traveler, but one of the problems with traveling is is that your I don't know face? Maybe, maybe not.
Let's assume she is.
Well, she's in Japan. I figure she might come to the States once in a while to come visit family. One of the problems for people who travel a lot, as I do, is keeping track of your itinerary, all the paperwork and so forth. There's a great website, we've mentioned it before, called TripIt. TripIt.com. I'm a TripIt Pro subscriber. TripIt has a great iPhone app, but it hasn't yet done an iPad app. For that, I actually like this program maybe even a little bit better. It's called Travel Tracker Pro. And it will import all your TripIt trips. So you can see all my trips are in here. By the way, the way TripIt works is you forward, as you get the confirmation emails from the airlines and the hotels and the rental car companies, you forward them to plans at TripIt.com. It automatically builds this itinerary. This itinerary was built for me by TripIt. Shows up here. Here's the flight. I didn't have to enter a single thing. All I had to do was forward the airline. Here's all the information. Award miles are kept track of. Flight info is kept track of. In fact, you can even see the flight times, all of this stuff. You can even see the flight on a map. I mean, awesome. It is, this is kind of high coolness for somebody who travels a lot. I mean, it's kind of a dual trip. can see I've put every trip I've ever done in the last year and a half has gone through TripIt.
You get around.
Yeah. Well, you know what's fun is even Abby's trip to visit us for Christmas is in here because as long as I get it in my email, it scans my Gmail account. It will show up. You know, I'm going on that 3-week cruise. That is a long itinerary with a lot of stuff in it. This is all in here. And see, they even put the right icon. There's a little cruise ship icon next to that one. There's an airplane icon next to that one. Here's a map of Cusco, Peru, so I can see, you know, when I get there, what to do and so forth. Here's the details. So this really is a nice, and it, by the way, these are Google Maps, so you have all the Google capabilities. It's downloading the data now. That's why there's no data there yet, but in a time it'll all be there. I have to say, this is a great program. They have a free version. I would get the pro version, and frankly, I would also get the pro version of TripIt. But not so expensive per year, but I tell you what, you get a lot of value. If you do travel, TripIt.com and Travel Tracker Pro are a great combo.
Little side note, do you know that TripIt just got sold for $120 million?
Who bought them? What?
A company called Concur.
Oh, I hope they don't change them.
I know.
I love TripIt.
That's kind of my worry about Mint is that I feel as though...
Well, Intuit's had them for a while and has not. And I think what's interesting is that Intuit says, oh, this really is what Quicken should have been. So I think that this is
the only problem with Intuit, though, is that just you know, full disclosure, that Mint is something that I recommend for busy folks. At the same time, it doesn't recognize one of my credit unions where I have a
not every bank, but some of the funky banks
account.
Yeah,
well, it's a funky bank.
It's a funky
long
bank.
Story. But so you know, I
come
worry
on, what
about,
is it? It's like the Birkenstock Employees Credit Union.
No, it used to be this credit union that was associated with my college, and then it got bought by another company, so I'm sort of like, eh.
If a bank like Bank of America, Citibank, if you have a modern bank that keeps up with the times, it'll work with it.
If you have a non-cave person bank, you're probably fine. I, of course, like to do things the hard way, so I just worry that Intuit is kind of like a Yahoo, sort of like, it's our property. We're not going to put a lot of work into adding these little banks.
Well, I always worry about that, too, and I worry about now TripIt. That's a little discouraging. But actually, I know the CEO of TripIt. I met him at Food Camp. He's a great guy, and I'm actually glad to hear
maybe he'll share some of his millions with you.
How much? 120 million?
120. Yeah. Wow. Good times. I'm not familiar with Concur, but I guess we will be now.
You know, there's travel services is actually a huge business. Remember, Google bought ITA?
Yeah.
Or is trying to for millions.
Yeah.
So there's all of our apps. We have them all online, right?
Yeah, we do. So those are our busy people apps.
I hope that helps you, Mickey.
I hope that helps you, Mickey. Obviously, some of the rules, if you're based in Japan, might be a little bit different than here, but that's the way it goes. Not all the rules are the same across country. But hopefully that helps you and everyone else who feels like they're busy. Hopefully we gave you some good ideas. If you want all the links to the apps we mentioned, you know where to visit us. But if for some reason you've forgotten, it's at twit.tv/IPT, and that's where you can watch our past episodes and subscribe to all of our shows. So if you can't watch live, by the way, we're live at 4:30 p.m.
Sort of.
Eastern. Today it was 5-ish. Maybe a little later, 1:30 Pacific.
Leo time.
Right around the time. It's Leo time.
1:30 LPT.
It's Leo/Fiji time. I hear that they don't care so much about promptness in Fiji either.
You know, that's why we make a download available.
Yeah,
you can watch it at your convenience.
Exactly. If you want to watch live, here we are. And if you can't, don't worry about it because we'll let you have the show and it's on demand. You can watch it whenever you want. Also, if you have theme ideas or suggestions or feedback, you want to sing to us, whatever, iPad today at twit.tv is our email address. What? Opera Man.
This portion of iPad Today is brought to you by our good friends at Ford, who brought us to Vegas for CES and chose Vegas to announce the all-new electric Ford Focus for 2012.
That's
Sarah,
a looker.
I can say in all sincerity, this is my next car. In fact, I might even trade in the Mustang for this because it's going to give me such a good feeling because 0 CO2 emissions, great range, 3-hour charging.
Imagine having 4 doors again.
Yeah, I mean, I sat in it. It is beautiful. It's very affordable. You know, like fully equipped for the gas is something like $25,000. Leather seats and, of course, the great sync with My Ford Touch. Have you seen this? This is beautiful. You get the big 6-inch screen in the center console, the 2 little screens behind the steering wheel, the 5-position dual switches on your steering wheel. And the reason for that, of course, is that when you're using sync, you keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road, but you are connected. And not just connected as with the original sync to, you know, your music, to the turn-by-turn directions and all that, but you even can use sync to control your battery. Here's their smartphone application, Android and iPhone for that. MapQuest custom routes, which not only do you see on your portable device, but then you send to the car You could see the charging. You can see where the chargers are so that when you drive somewhere, you know where you can plug in. It is an amazing vehicle. They've really, I think Ford has hit it out of the park with this one. Isn't that beautiful?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the look of it. It's great.
Oh,
It's kind of got that A3 body.
Yeah, it does. It's very, very sleek, very comfortable inside. And you know what? I already know that I will never buy another car that doesn't have sync with my Ford Touch built in. It's got to. I'm just not going to put up with that other junk stuff. Bad. No, not me.
Nope.
So they went to CES to announce it because really this Ford Focus is just as much a consumer electronics device as it is a car. I am super happy to be a Ford, part of a Ford family is what they call it. And I invite you to go to this website, focuselectricpower.com, to learn more. We're all very excited to get the brand new 2012 Ford Focus. You know who's getting to
take
go to
her around the block?
You know who's going to get the first test drive?
Who?
John C. Dvorak.
Why?
They invited me to Madrid.
Oh, that's right.
And I
he's
can't
going.
go.
Right.
I should have sent you. But you can't go because you have to be here while I'm not here.
Yeah, I'm filling in for you. That's okay. I'll get to Madrid one of these days.
Look at Brake Coach.
I love it.
It teaches you, it literally teaches you how to be as economical as possible, how to get the most distance and so forth. They even have badges. They have like a little award badges for good driving.
I love the whole electric. You know, I was at the gas pump this morning. I spent $55.
Oh, this is like pennies. Pennies per trip.
I know. It's the way of the future.
Thank you, Ford, for your support.
Thank you, Ford.
Of this fine, whatever it is, program. What is it?
Fine piece of art.
Piece of art. So I'm hearing, you know, I was busy at CES, but I hear when we were there that something else happened in the iPad world. iOS 4.3 was announced.
Announced and now available to the developer community.
So what's in it?
Of which you are part of.
Unless I've been kicked out.
Yeah, you haven't checked.
I believe I still am.
For developers, they are now.
You know, Apple just doesn't like me. They invited MG to that event. They didn't invite me to that event.
But you know, he was the only one from TechCrunch who.
MG Siegler, who we both know, great guy, who was invited to the iPhone Verizon announcement. Actually, in some ways,
he wasn't the only person. I mean,
they're going to do a Verizon iPad. They said.
Verizon iPad. Well, you know what's interesting about 4.3 is that it has hotspot capability. So it's sort of like, hey, it doesn't really just have to be Verizon. Any carrier can choose to play along.
You just said the important thing. Choose. The carrier has to say, and in this case, AT&T would have to say, oh, okay.
Well, if
their
they
history's not great. Internationally, you know, the companies jumped on tethering as soon as it was available for the iPhone. We'll see if they jump on tethering, if AT&T jumps on hotspot here in the States.
Wouldn't that be nice? Another thing that 4.3 is now promising, and I'm not sure if it was backlash related or if they just said, hey, why not throw in another choice for consumers, is the rotation lock button that became the mute button is now going to be a mute/rotation lock button, which you can choose in your settings.
Oh, that's not confusing.
But that's
a response to us. No, that's a response to us.
Yeah,
I know.
I think so.
It is, but you know, Apple's the one who says, oh, you can't have two purposes for any buttons on the iPhone. That's why Camera Plus was pulled, and then now they're doing it themselves.
You know what I also think part of this has to do with is that the mute button really doesn't work all that well.
That's the real problem. It doesn't mute everything.
It doesn't mute everything. In fact, I've gotten into situations where I muted it with my mute button, and I played something that, you know, in a crowded coffee shop maybe wasn't really all that appropriate, like CeeLo song, for example. Hey, it's not muted. Awesome. Now I'm embarrassed.
You can't control it.
No, you can't. I mean, it's app specific.
Hey, mute you.
And also multi-touch gestures. So this is, for example.
Wait a minute, don't we already have? I don't understand.
Well, not really. So there's I put a link in our
Is there a demo here that I can?
Well, Engadget did a little video. We don't actually have to roll the audio, but
because we don't want to hear it, but we will see.
Yeah, the audio is. I mean, we can speak to the audio, but yeah, they did a little like video demo. It's like halfway down the page. And what it is that multi-touch gesturing it's kind of supposed to, I guess in a way, mimic the way that you would use a trackpad, where you can swipe using 4 fingers, maybe to get back to your home screen, to go to your next page of apps. There you go. If you go, that
video. Oh,
yeah.
it looked like it was just the
I know
hotspot stuff.
it's a little confusing.
Okay, so we'll look at this.
It's
and
a little
see
of
what
everything.
happens.
Yeah, they show you the orientation lock, and if you go maybe like a couple seconds in, or maybe like a minute into the video, it starts showing you some of the gesture stuff. So he's showing us how we can.
That was cool.
back
So
to
he
the home
minimized
screen.
the settings by a gesture that really looked like a full hand squeeze.
Right. So it's like if you squeeze, then you go back to the home screen. If you use 4 fingers and you
It's 4 finger swipe.
up, then you get your multitasking. You can swipe to the left or the right to get to go through apps that are already currently running, and so on and so forth.
You know,
so
I
that's
have
pretty
some
cool.
of these gestures on my trackpad on my MacBook,
Yeah.
and I never use them. Do you use them?
No.
It's hard to remember them, to be honest with you.
I don't use them exactly. I think some people are really into keyboard shortcuts and gesturing, and
So maybe they remember it.
There are certain things. I think it's just again that the keyword is choice here.
Yeah.
However, so this all looks fine and good, and you go, this is kind of neat to be something fun to play around with. Except that it's also sort of spurred a new rumor. Boy Genius Report actually
Love them. BGR.
had an article last night saying, it was kind of a funny article, exclusive article that the iPad and possibly the iPhone is going to do away with the home button altogether, and that's what this gesturing thing is all about.
No,
But
please.
so
because these gestures do replace the home button.
They
you could use
replace
them
what you would
instead of.
use the home button for.
Yeah.
But so this is this article, and you kind of read it and go, this is really wild. But if you read it carefully, it's worded in the way that suggests
They could.
although
They might.
it's kind of the sensational way to take
Right.
it is iPad 2 won't have a home button. It sounds more like, yes, one day maybe
Right.
it won't have a home button. And there have been a lot of follow-up articles from other people saying, listen, to not have a home button, I mean, can you imagine taking your iPhone out of your pocket and not being able to use your thumb to go back to your home screen?
Well, but
if your other hand
you need
is
it with the
full?
iPhone, maybe not so much with the iPad. I got to say that both the Motorola Zoom and the BlackBerry Playbook do not have home buttons. They are all gesture based. In fact, BlackBerry was Motorola was making a big deal about no buttons.
Right.
So
They do have buttons on the side, but
yeah, I
they're
know.
kind of
But no
cleverly
home
hidden.
button, I guess is.
But
the
no
deal.
home button.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not saying that the home button will never go away. There is no way that the next generation of the iPad is going to be missing a home button. I'm sorry. People can't get used to gesturing that quickly.
Yeah.
It just that's ridiculous. And I don't think Apple's the kind of company that rushes out things that confuse people until they really feel like it's the right thing to do. So, interesting rumor, but not
credible.
ready for prime time.
Not credible.
Not credible. Not yet, anyway.
Thank you, Sarah, for relieving my concern.
I'm glad.
Yes.
I'm glad to have calmed down your blood pressure a
You
little
have
bit.
reduced my blood pressure. Now you're going to increase it, probably. No?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how calm you could be.
How about this?
Yeah, the College Survival Guide. This is, every once in a while, I get my weekly email from iTunes, and every once in a while there's something really cool in the App Store that I think is worthy of your attention. The College Survival Guide happens to be this week's app roundup that iTunes puts together.
So they do this. It's kind of like a mixed list or something. These are apps if you're in college you might want to look at. This is kind of nice. This is actually kind of what we do.
The folks at iTunes obviously spend a lot of time looking at apps
Yeah.
and denying apps.
I would
and
like to
that sort of
point out,
thing.
however, that we have mentioned many, if not all, of these apps. So
Many of these.
if you were watching us, you probably already knew about
There's
these.
a lot of these apps that we've already told you about, but this is again, it's all about categorizing things. And the College Survival Guide. Hey,
I like that.
If you're a senior in high school, you're in your last semester. Get on these now. Get familiar with them. When you go off to Brown next year, you're all over the place. Some of these college survival guides as well. Good for parents.
Yep.
Good for busy moms. Good for busy people.
Good
really.
for Marley the Chihuahua.
Good for Marley the Chihuahua. Now,
He's not going to college, I hope.
no, not. I think he's a little young. I think Marley's a little young.
Marley, oh, come on, open.
You stupid
piece
mobile
of-
me.
Mobile me.
Why I oughta.
We're trying to get the picture of Marley the Chihuahua.
Marley the Chihuahua is our iPad star of the week. Marley the Chihuahua is not a cat, so I don't want to hear anything about it.
What is he? What is he, though? He looks like
now I asked
a
Marley's
gremlin.
human Jen because she sent me the picture and I went, "Oh my God, what kind of little bat is that?" And she said, "He's a Chihuahua."
Huh.
Or maybe
He's furrier.
or maybe
Is
she.
he- he's a hairy
Not sure
Chihuahua.
if Marley's a girl or a boy. He's a long bristle hair mix.
I like it.
Me too.
That's my favorite Chihuahua I've ever seen.
I think it's the cutest little creature yet on iPad today.
But
Marley,
do not
you're our
give
star.
them anything to drink after midnight.
No, because then he turns into a very mean gremlin who might
I
hurt
think
you.
so. I mean, doesn't he look, or an Ewok? He's either an Ewok or a gremlin.
He's cute. Or she. I forget if you're a boy or a girl, Marley.
Marley.
We love you either way.
Marley's ghost.
Thanks again to Jen for sending that in.
That's great.
And also, you know what we did a few weeks ago, gosh, however many episodes ago, we showed somebody's home screen
Right.
and said, hey, we should feature other folks' home screens because it's
like
very
this idea.
interesting to be voyeurs and look at how people have things
I
arranged
agree.
and what they have in their dock. So Blake Woody sent us his home screen. He is, down on the bottom there, has every single app on one page. He
I'm
doesn't
pretty
like
close
to go in
that.
between pages.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to that. I have the front page. I do something similar. The front page, by the way, see, he's in Format HD.
Mm-hmm.
The front page is the apps I use the most. The second page is all folders. And that way you can get almost everything. I actually have a couple of pages of
So
folders.
I think that you've got the right idea because certain apps you don't want to click into a folder because you're actually going to use it that often.
Exactly.
You know, for Foursquare, or, things like
Exactly.
that. But I gotta hand it to Blake. He is organized. He's got
He's
his
good.
game folders. He's got his reference folders, utilities. He obviously uses Informant HD. It's right up at the
And
top.
then, of course, the
That's
doc-
not in a folder.
No, and the doc is where you have the most. But of course, you don't need a doc so much if you only have one page.
I know.
It's
You
all
don't.
there.
I guess it's just sort of you feel a little bit the apps down there are just a little bit more special or something.
Yeah.
So thanks to Blake. Always
really
interesting
neat.
to see the way that other people organize their iPads.
I think other people should do that. How should people send us their iPad screenshots?
Well,
Because I would like to see more of that.
really just take a screen
email?
cap and then email. Yeah, iPad today at twit.tv.
Okay.
You can host them somewhere and send us the link if you want. But you can just email us. It's good stuff. Speaking of viewers
Yes.
and ways to get a hold of us,
Hello,
we
viewers.
hello viewers and listeners.
We love
We don't
you.
judge. It's just if you're listening, you didn't see Blake's home screen, so that kind of sucks.
No, but we described it, I thought, quite accurately.
We did, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
poetry. It's like an audio.
Steve Martin
book.
said when he wrote Object of Desire, he didn't want to waste time describing paintings,
Mm-hmm.
so he got the publisher to put pictures of paintings in there, but then I listened in an audiobook, so that didn't work so good.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Certain things don't translate exactly the same way, but if you're listening and you're enjoying, then we're happy. And you can always listen and then be like, what did I miss? And then go and watch it again later on video. Well, we haven't
Here's something for
featured-
the audio listeners.
Yes, exactly. We haven't featured a lot of your guys' voicemails recently, and it's not because you haven't been sending them in, because you have.
Yeah.
And thanks for that.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of PR voicemails where it's like very obviously a PR person going, there's a new wonderful app. I think that you should. And you can tell what they're reading. We're not going to feature those. No.
No.
I'm not the smartest cookie in the
Oh, please.
cookie box,
Oh, please, Cookie.
but I'm not the dimmest either. This
can't
voicemail,
fool her.
First voicemail comes from Jim in Birmingham, Alabama, and he's got a
I'm going to close
Wi-Fi
my eyes.
issue.
This is going to be the audio edition. I'm closing my eyes right now.
Me too.
Hello, Sarah and Leo. This
Yeah.
is Jim in Birmingham, Alabama.
Hi.
Hi.
I was curious, since I now have an iPad, why is it going out and getting on Wi-Fi when I'm not using it, when it's sitting there supposedly turned off?
Yeah.
At least in sleep mode.
Yeah.
Who is it talking to?
Who?
No ads are running. Why would it be talking to anybody? Thank you.
He's a professional radio announcer, I'm guessing.
Jim has an interesting inquiry.
Have you experienced that?
Well, I have, but that's when my Wi-Fi's on and it's trying to help
Have you
me.
ever gotten up in the middle of the night and your iPad's walking out? No. And looked at your router? This happened to me the other night. I looked at my router, and you have little blinky lights on your router,
Yes.
and one of them is to blink when there's traffic.
Right.
And I got up. It's the middle of the night. Everybody's asleep. And I look, and it's going brrrr, like there's a lot of data. Brrrr, going, what the heck is going on? Why is my router busy at 3
And did you
in the
think
morning?
someone was sitting outside your home
No.
downloading movies?
No, I put on my thinking cap, and I realized I have on my iPad, my iPhone, all my computers, automatic email retrieval every 30 minutes or half an hour. That's you should look at your settings. You can turn off things. Turn it to manual. If you have it manually sync, manually if you don't want this to happen. But frankly, I think you do.
You do. I think Jim this is probably all stuff that can be helpful for him. He just didn't realize that the iPad was smart enough to be.
It does it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're moving around, then, and if you ask Wi-Fi to remember Wi-Fi networks and just connect automatically, which, by the way, will save you on battery life. Wi-Fi takes less battery life than 3G if you're in your own home or maybe at your favorite coffee shop.
Yep.
It'll just connect automatically. So it will be working behind the scenes if you so desire. And if you don't, definitely get familiar with your Wi-Fi settings because you do have choices there.
Yeah. It's in the email. It's in the sync, the contacts, all of that stuff. It says how often do you want me to check. And if you don't want it to do that, just set it to manual. Certainly when you travel, if you're using 3G and you don't want to use expensive data and so forth, you might want to do that. But I think if you're on Wi-Fi, that's exactly what you want to have happen.
Probably nothing nefarious going on with your new iPad.
No.
That would be cool, though. iPad's gone wild. It's on Wi-Fi. It's watching porn. Another voicemail. This one is from an anonymous woman. She did not leave her name, but that's okay. And she has a little addition to our e-reader episode, which actually Tom co-hosted with me because you were, I don't know where you were. You weren't here. We ran down some of our favorite e-readers, and she thought that we had missed something pretty obvious.
All right, let's listen with our ears.
Hi, I just watched iPad Today 26, and I saw in your coverage of e-readers that I noticed that you didn't talk about any of the apps like Overdrive that are available to access ebooks from libraries. I think that might be interesting for your viewers to know about, that they can sign on to their library website and actually download ebooks from the library. Oh. Okay, bye-bye.
So
I didn't know about that.
Anonymous schooled me, too. I had no idea that I could download audiobooks from the San Francisco Public Library, for example, as long as I'm a member. But you can. Overdrive is not iPad enabled, but it's certainly iPad capable. It's an iPhone. It's an iPhone app. Yeah. So if I go to Get Books area, what it'll do is
you have to have a library card, obviously.
Yeah. So it ends up bumping you onto Safari, where then you decide, you go through your library, and if I, just type in an area code. But you need the app. You need the app
to drive you to the library site. You can't just go to the library site. I mean, you could bookmark that now, right?
You could, but what the app will do is that if you start
it's copy
listening
protection
to a
is
book,
what it is. Yeah,
and you've got a few books that you're juggling or checked out, for example, you can access those through the app.
So the idea
of
these
just to get connected.
Publishers require, which really annoys me, copy protection in the audiobooks that are lent out by libraries in most cases. So that's what this is. It's basically a scheme, a copy protection scheme.
But if you're a library user,
well, it's free.
Right.
It's weird though, because there's, I understand if you have a physical copy, they want it back in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. But what do they care of the digital copy? You should be able to keep it for months. I don't understand.
I think it's just the mentality.
It's a weird mentality, if you ask me.
It's a weird mentality, but I can understand that people say, well, you've got a copy and we need the copy back because that's how libraries
There is no copy, though. I mean, it's not, okay. Fine.
Well, there is. It's just that it's something
there's no
that
limit.
Could be, right.
Although maybe that the library is artificially told by the publisher, oh, you can only have 10 copies out at any one time. I bet you that's what it is.
Right.
Because the publishers really are the ones who enforce this.
In any case, if you have a library card, try Overdrive and see what your options are, because it's a really cool solution for library folks. And thank you to Anonymous from Secretville.
13,000 libraries worldwide, ebooks as well as audiobooks.
There are quite a few libraries in San Francisco, and they all came up on the Overdrive search.
So the way you did that was by entering your phone number, and then it knew where you live.
Well, I just entered in my zip code.
Oh, zip code. Okay.
Yeah, but you can, if you don't have that information or don't want to use it that way, you can just search via, library name, or there's all sorts of search parameters. Really good tip. So thanks for that. I had no idea. Now we do. We got a video from one J.L. Bryan, who has a question about some of our news preferences.
All right, let's see. JL, go right ahead. Should I cover my eyes for this one, too?
No, we can see him.
I'll just turn out the lights. It's dark in here. Sarah!
I'm sorry.
Hey there, Leo and Sarah, or should I say Sarah and Leo?
That's better.
I like the idea of sitting there at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee, reading my daily news with my iPad. It feels so futuristic. I was wondering if you guys could do a roundup of all the daily news apps out there. I'm not speaking about RSS feeds, but just the daily news apps. I'd like to see that. Thanks a lot.
Well, the rumor is, did it again. The rumor, don't cut there. The rumor is that Steve Jobs and Rupert Murdoch will announce the Daily, which is Rupert Murdoch's initiative, his daily news initiative, at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art in a couple of weeks. We'll be covering that, I'm sure.
Right, and Rupert is coming to us.
Right.
So, because this is in San Francisco.
From the hyperbaric chamber in which he normally lives.
Right.
So, although somebody said it's appropriate that they should announce this in a museum.
Yeah, really.
Since the idea of a daily newspaper is kind of antiquated. But there are a lot of good daily news apps.
There are a lot. And I mean,
should we save that for a show?
I think that we should because, my first reaction was, well, JL, you say that you don't want RSS, but I mean, by using RSS feeds, you can access so many of your daily news
in one place. Let's show him there are a lot of newspapers like USA Today, the New York Times, the Guardian that have apps.
Right.
Certainly we should show him that. But then I'd like to show him things like Pulse and Flipboard, which are, in my opinion, a better way, whether it uses RSS or not. Pay no attention to that, but they're just a better way to read
Exactly.
news.
I mean, RSS doesn't have to look like Google Reader. And I think a lot of people...
Flipboard is amazing.
Flipboard, which now supports Google Reader, but doesn't look anything like it. And JL, he did mention, it seems so futuristic to be reading my news where I'm sitting at my kitchen table in the morning.
That's called the iPad.
I know, exactly. And Flipboard is a very good example of feeling like you're looking at the future of news consumption.
To me, it's really the only app you need. But let's do I would like to do, if you don't mind, next week, a full tour of Flipboard and show you why I think Flipboard is actually a better experience.
I think we just chose our theme. Okay.
News apps next time on iPad.
Which we've done before. We've done before.
And I think we've even done Flipboard before. But
we have.
I'd like to give you a tutorial. Okay? And also, I did mention this when the new Flipboard came out. It has some new features. But let me give you I would like to, if we con su permiso, I would like to do a little primer on getting the most out of Flipboard. Because I think it's possible to use Flipboard in some ways that really make it completely better than anything else that's out there, including whatever Rupert Murdoch does.
And that said, there are other options.
And we'll talk about those too.
And we can talk about those too. Cool. So, JL, tune in for episode 29.
Yeah.
And you'll get your answers.
There you go. I like that. That's called a tease.
The news apps, I mean.
No, there's a lot to talk about.
Since we talked about them last, we have other options. So, it's time.
In fact,
it's time to bring it back.
I wonder, maybe we should wait till the Daily comes in. Well, we'll certainly talk about the Daily when it comes out.
Yeah.
I think that's...
The Daily's its own
The rumor,
category.
what do you hear? The rumor, I think, is the 28th. They'll announce that at the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco.
I think
something
that's
like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's at the end of January.
End of January.
I don't remember the exact day. But yeah, that's, it's
two shows hence. Two shows hence.
And, if the Daily works, then it says a lot for what people can do in the App Store going forward.
Flipboard. It's my Daily. I don't need it.
Reminder that we want to hear from you guys. We love featuring you. We love listening to you, reading your emails, watching your videos. It's always a lot of fun. So write us at iPad today at twit.tv. Leave us a voicemail, 757-504-IPAD. That's 4723. Or for extra points, and I don't really know, we don't really actually give you physical points.
There's no points, no.
Virtual hugs. For virtual hugs, you can send us a video. It can be a question or comment, a suggestion. JL just gave us our theme for next week. We're happy to do what he wants. Idea, anything like that, just upload the video and send us the link.
I think
and
the
we
deal
will try
is
to play it.
That we'll give you virtual hugs, and I'll get the hugs, though, right? You're going to hug me, and then I will just be the proxy for whoever else.
You send the mojo to wherever.
I'll be the mojo collector.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Man, I like this job.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
All right, we're going to get your app cap ready. We're going to do our app cap awards in just a moment. Well, don't run off. But before we do that, I do want to mention a little bit about a great company that I've used since 2004 to protect me from spam, from viruses, and from disaster. It's MailRoute. MailRoute.info for 10% off for the life of your account. If you run your own server, as I do with Leoville.com or as Tom does with SubBrilliant, you know that if you run your own server, you cannot use easily the anti-spam features of something like Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo Mail or Outlook. Yeah, they have great anti-spam filters, but those who run our own services, we've got to do it ourselves, and this is where I love MailRoute. You change your MX record to point to MailRoute. That spam never hits your server. MailRoute cleans it up. I've talked about this before, but out of 1 million messages that were sent to Leoville.com in the last 12 months, all but 30,000 were spam. That's 970,000 spam messages.
Oh my gosh.
And I never saw them. They didn't even bog down my server because MailRoute catches them before. And by the way, they have such a low virtually non-existent false positive that I don't even bother checking the mail store anymore. They have a spam store. You can see what they captured. You might want to look at it the first few times, but trust me, you don't need to. I haven't in months. I haven't in years because it does such a good job. Spam filtering, gray listing, virus filtering, disaster recovery, and 99.99%. Actually, let me give me one more 59% uptime.
That's a good percentage.
Oh, it's the best. I love them. Take 10% off if you go to mailroute.info. If you want to know more, they've got a 15-day trial. Big companies use it. Universities use it. I use it. I invite you to use it. Mailroute.info. You got your app cap. I like that.
Well, I thought I'd kind of go, what do we call this?
Well, that's my Yale alumni hat, actually.
Well,
only
I was kind of going for the gaucho look because you're going to be in Argentina pretty soon.
It's a straw hat.
It's a stretch.
I
know this isn't a real gaucho hat.
And it says,
yeah.
What does it say? 57 to
97?
97. So it's the 40th anniversary.
40th anniversary
40th
gaucho.
Reunion. So let's see, 40
the
years.
Yale gauchos, they
you
are,
graduated
right?
when you were 21. So you're 61 years old. I had no idea. You
well, I
look
get a lot of plastic
not
surgery.
a day over 50.
Yeah.
You look fantastic.
A lot,
Actually, that's the
lift.
That's the 50th anniversary.
A lot
hat.
of lifts.
I stole that from an old codger. He couldn't stop me. I just knocked him on the head.
Just wanted
and took
to be
his
a
hat.
gaucho from Argentina.
Actually, you know what I did? I went to the class of 57 booth at the Yale reunion in 2007. I said, "Can I have a hat?" And they gave it to me.
Well, that's nice.
And I took it home. So
and this is it?
Yeah, because
Well,
all we
I love
got,
it.
class of 77, all we got was tie-dye T-shirts. I guess they didn't. No, I
I
like
was
the
going
straw
to say,
hats.
class of 57 just doesn't sound right, Leo.
Now, you know, I got this hat in St. Petersburg in Russia.
It looks
Doesn't
like
it?
the kind of hat that they would wear there.
Yeah.
When I was in St.
Originally, it had
Petersburg, it
these
was the
tied up.
dead of summer, and it was very hot.
It was the dead of summer as well, but I still bought a big hat.
Well, it's gorgeous. I love it.
I know.
It's a
I love
wonderful
it too.
hat. It's
So,
perfect for you.
You do your app cap. Who starts? Who starts?
I start.
You start with
I
app cap,
start
and I'll do
now.
my app cap after that.
So this app I came across in a really roundabout way because I read a lot of music news websites. Pitchfork, for example, Paste. They have a lot of music news. You know, people coming out with new albums and articles about musicians. You know, their personal lives because I like music. Well, it turns out that Björk, who's a famous Icelandic singer, has been around for a long time, did some music for an app called Solar System that came out in December. But you would never know, I mean, unless you're really, really intimate with the sound of Björk, because it's all instrumental. So this is kind of, yeah. So this is, apparently, this is a song that's going to be part of an upcoming album of hers. But this app is the first place to hear it. I've never heard of such a thing. So we're going to go ahead and skip the song because, again,
So this is a Bjork did the music, but not the app. And
no,
this is
yeah,
a trip through
the
solar
app
system.
has, you know, she's not involved in
This
the
is like
making of
the
app.
elements, only for planets.
Yeah, this is really cool. So, for
This is
example,
gorgeous.
I know it's awesome. I mean, if you're into space trivia and kind of the
love
3D
this.
representations, let's just go to Jupiter because I was doing this
You
earlier
know,
and I
I've
was
been
really
saying
impressed.
that all day. Let's just go to Jupiter.
Let's just go to Jupiter. You know, F it.
Wow.
But so here's Jupiter.
F it.
And, you know, I can
Ooh,
go ahead and
ooh.
scroll around and get a sense of what Jupiter looks like. But
I
that's
like
not
this.
all, Leo.
I like this. There's
I can
more?
go and see, like, where Jupiter is in the solar system. It'll go whoop, and it lets me know where Jupiter is in relation to everyone. Now, I've got the it turned on really, really, really quickly. But let's say, like, I can choose to go, you know, 1 second.
There's some great astronomy apps. I just love.
know.
Oh, look at that.
And so you get a sense of, like, you know, if you want to speed up, because obviously this is not how the moons are moving around Jupiter in real time. But you get a sense of how it works.
Oh, look.
Now, if you say done, I can go back here. And so not only is it, you know, kind of like, let's look at Jupiter. Oh, there's the eye. But it gives you a lot of information about it. And then there are more.
This reminds me a lot of the elements. This is very similar in that kind of learning. And I think this is where learning is just remarkable, you know? I mean, oh,
yeah.
look. Oh,
and so
look.
this, you know, there's actual satellite imagery that
Really?
that shows you how Jupiter's
There's the
moving.
eye. Look at it moving.
Yeah, isn't that
Wow.
great? And so on and so forth. And, you know, it just gives you a lot of interesting facts about planets. And some of the stuff you sort of know, but you've never really seen it in this, provided in this way before.
Very appealing.
Yeah, very appealing. And this, you know, goes on and on for all the planets and certain other moons and even little areas of
Turn the
little
sound up though. I like
gray
the
areas.
I like the Bjork music. I thought that was very kind of pretty. So it's only on the intro.
It's
of it.
only on the intro, so it's a little. It's kind of curious. It's a curious addition. Why is Bjork's song that hasn't been released anywhere in the intro to Solar
Does she
System?
sing?
No, it's all instrumental. That's why when I read about this article, I think it was on Pitchfork, I went, a Bjork song and a Solar System app?
But it's beautiful. It's almost like Elgar or something.
I know, it is. Yeah, so you can kind of go back and, I don't know, use it as like a
screensaver.
Yeah, something like that. Or you can learn a lot, and this, there's a lot of good stuff going on here.
It's funny. The Elements has a song at the beginning of it. It's the Tom Lehrer song about the elements. So it's funny. I guess that's kind of a new tradition. Miranda, that's a moon of Jupiter.
A small icy moon.
And you know what? We don't know what's on the other side.
470 kilometers across.
You see that? We don't know what's on the other side.
Nope. Not with Miranda, we don't.
That's, by the way, that's where they live.
Yeah.
On the backside of Miranda. No, seriously. That's where they live.
Who's they?
Well, you know them.
Oh, them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is Solar System. Bjork fans rejoice. You can hear
what is the sound of a Bjork fan rejoicing? Bjork, Bjork, Bjork. Bjork, Bjork, Bjork.
I was going to yodel, but that's not appropriate. I don't know. I have no idea.
Here's my app cap. Have you ever heard of Prezi?
Like a present in law speak?
Prezi. It's been around for a while. It's a presentation program that's very different.
That kind of Prezi.
Let me play a Prezi. I actually use it for presentations. If you can use it for free, but if you want to have a desktop application and edit it yourself and so forth, then you would. This is kind of cool. I should zoom in on this, but then you would have to pay $159 a year, which I think is worth it. So these Prezi presentations, it's a way to do a presentation where it's kind of interactive. It zooms. It is in Flash though, which is kind of discouraging. Especially for iPad users.
Right.
Now, I've been using it on a laptop. And by the way, we can zoom in further and further and so forth. So it really has this kind of neat way of presenting material in a kind of a three-dimensional.
Yeah, it's not just the slide.
No,
view.
It's a very, if you're bored with Keynote, you're bored with PowerPoint, this is a new way to do stuff. Well, they've just announced their free iPad application, Prezi for the iPad. And, this is what I'm going to take on the cruise to do my presentation. We'll start the presentation, and the thing about the presentation is it uses pinch and zoom very well. It's actually kind of a natural for Prezi to do it on the iPad.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really liking this. I think it's a really interesting application for the iPad, and if you are already a Prezi user, you can use this absolutely free. Now, you may not want to pay for Prezi. It is free to try a limited version of Prezi, a web-only version of Prezi. You'll need the $159 version to use it on the iPad. But I highly recommend taking a look at it, especially if you give presentations, because it's just a really original, unusual way to give presentations. And I think when you tie this to the iPad, you're getting something totally unique.
I mean, if I was sitting in an audience watching a presentation and this was the way that it was being presented to me, I would be paying attention just because it's different.
Well, and the other thing that's kind of cool is it's unlike Keynote and PowerPoint, which are one slide after another, very linear. I can move anywhere on the presentation, so it makes it good for the kinds of presentations I do, where people ask questions and I say, "Oh, well, let me talk about that. Let's zoom in on that." Now, this is not my presentation. They have some example presentations online, and this is a really cool one. There's actually very good ones. If you go to prezi.com, you can see what Prezi is capable of, and you can see some examples of the best practices using Prezi. But this is something to take a look at, free on the iPad if you have a Prezi account.
Love it.
Yeah, Prezi. They're kind of a neat company. It's kind of an interesting idea.
I mean, nothing against PowerPoint or anything, but it's nice to see
it's just change
the
of pace.
presentation world getting a little more creative.
Just a change of pace. And I love the 3D. It's very easy to create Prezi presentations, and you can embed web pages, pictures, and even YouTube videos in here. Now, if you put a YouTube video in a Prezi on the iPad, you'll have to have connectivity to play it back. That's something to keep in mind if you're doing cruise talks like I do. But this is great. And it kind of an infinite zoom. So you really, and it zoom in and zoom out. So watch. I mean, this presentation, as I zoom out.
It's like its own little solar system.
It is. It's actually very similar to what you were just showing. All I need is Bjork.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
You can play her. Just don't, hope she doesn't get wind of it.
Isn't that cool? I just love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Prezi.
Prezi. That's my app, Cap.
I love it, Leo. And now we come to the end of our show.
Oh, I hate this
There
part.
are many tears and many jeers.
Yes, we get both. Tears and jeers.
Tears and jeers.
That's good. That's a new segment on iPad today.
It should be.
Yeah,
it should
tears
be.
and jeers.
Maybe like worst apps ever can be our tears and jeers section of the show. We
Watch
don't really
us
like talking about bad apps.
on the net after the fact at twit.tv/IPT. You can find all the places you can subscribe there. And don't forget, we do this show live every Thursday afternoon at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern Time at live.twit.tv. I'm Leo Laporte.
I'm Sarah Lane, and we'll see you next time on iPad Today.